Welcome to the Intentional Household Podcast, episode 7. Today we are talking about why morning routines matter and how you can set your morning up for success. Alex, you and I have both created morning routines that are pretty successful for both of us and for our kids as well. Our mornings in the past were quite stressful, but I would say the mornings are not particularly a stressful time for us. I think that our mornings together as a family are quite unique. Being business owners, we aren't rushing off to be in the office at a certain time. My point is every family has a different morning routine and structure, just depending on their type of work, where they need to be, the family makeup. But today I would love to talk about, regardless of where you need to be, how you can create a morning routine that is specific to you and your needs and sets you up for success in the day.
Yeah, and I would say that, getting to me personally, I think with anyone is if you start something right off the bat, it's going to be like you're getting punched in the face. So mornings used to feel like I was getting punched in the face every day. And I'm not talking about trying to wake up. I'm talking about there's no warm up to getting into the chaos of our lives. And when I mean chaos of our lives, we have 3 young children, 2 dogs. You have to get the kids ready for school. You have to feed them their breakfast. That's, and then you have all your expectations of whatever you do for work. So that's, if you're not warming up, you just get right in the thick of it. It's like getting punched in the face. So we made routines, we both have different routines. There's my routine, Laura has her routine, and then there's the routine to get the family ready to go out the door and get them to where they need to be. So it's going to be something where you're creating routines which help you as an individual and then help the family get where they need to be as well. So I think that's important to look at. What do you specifically need as an individual to make it a successful morning for yourself?
That's right. And then in turn, it means that you can be more productive as an individual. You can have lower amounts of stress. Everyone has an idea of what's expected of them. You're more in control of your morning. Your energy levels are better then because you aren't spending them on stress and expending them, your energy yelling at people, right? It's allowing you to remember things or reducing forgetfulness. So there are a lot of benefits to having a morning routine that supports you and your goals.
And I'll also add too, as we get into this and what our routines are, neither of us were morning people.
That's right. So a lot of people believe that they are either morning people or night owls. And for my entire life, up until a year ago, I thought that I was a night owl. And we went to Necker Island. Alex had done his bike and had his bike crash. You wanted to redeem yourself and go on another bike ride. And I wanted to be present in case you were going to crash again. But I remember the bike ride meant that we had to wake up in the 5s. And one of our friends who was with us said, okay, you should come and you can just hike. And I said, I can't. I'm not a morning person. I can't wake up in the 5s. So as much as I would like to be there to make sure Alex is okay, I can't wake up in the 5s. And she was like, just do it. You'll love it. So I woke up, went on that hike. It was amazing. I was energized. I felt so productive. I loved how I started my day. And somehow that switched my sleeping or my wake up time. And that was a year ago. And I've been waking up by 6 a.m. every morning ever since.
Well, and that's good that you bring that up. And I'll go deeper into that because I do wake up early now. And I was able to switch my body this summer. And what I mean by that is I thought of as a bunch of different steps. I found myself, again, you work all day, and then when you have a busy family, you need some personal time. And what I found is my personal time was after we got the kids down, which is, crept up to around 9 p.m. now. I would need some downtime, and my downtime was creeping into 11, 12 o'clock at night. If you're going to bed at 11 or 12 o'clock at night, it is very difficult to wake up early in the morning. Believe it or not, you need sleep. And so if you try to go into this and going, hey, I'm going to wake up early, but you're going to bed late, it's not cohesive to creating that morning routine if you're trying to force yourself to get up early. So what you have to do is set yourself up for success the night before to make sure that you get the sleep so that you wake up early to start your routine. So this is what I did. Is that I decided that, wow, like, look at me, I need this me time, and all I'm doing is I'm going and I'm completely burnt out. All my mental energy's gone, and I'm just a vegetable watching nothing on TV, just trying to recharge. This isn't productive. I want this time back. So I said, I'm going to start waking up early, and I'm going to give up this TV time at night, because if I wake up early and I'm rested, then I can use that me time, but I can use it in a productive way. And I switched it. So instead of watching TV at night, I wake up early, and this is talking about getting punched in the face. I'm up before everyone else is up in the household. So that allows me time to get my coffee, do some journaling, read, set myself up for the rest of the day, plan for the rest of the day, so that when the family wakes up, I'm all set. I'm ready to go. I got myself some me time. I reading, journaled, everything's good. I'm at peace. Now the question is, well, how did you wake up? So when I went through this whole process, I'm like, oh, I'm staying up late at night. How am I going to get early in the morning? And this is when I decided, hey, I have to start waking up at 4:30. And some people may be listening, 4:30, that's crazy, 4:30. So guys, I don't want to wake up at 4:30, but I've shifted my schedule so I can wake up at 4:30. The reason being is I want to be up before my children. And I have one child that does get up early, 6:30. So I needed to make sure that I had about an hour before he was up so that I could enjoy my time, my me time. So I decided I'm going to start taking ice baths. Why am I taking ice baths? Well, I'm taking ice baths so I can wake up in the morning. Now it's become more than that, but initially why I started taking ice baths, I'll wake up and I'm going to jump in a cold bath, and that's going to wake me up. And it did. And when you get into that routine, here's an amazing thing that happens. You're tired by the end of the day. So falling asleep isn't an issue, because if you're getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, come 9 p.m., when you're finishing putting your kids down, you're ready for bed because you're tired. And then you build a routine around that. So in order to set up that morning routine, you have to set yourself up for success the night before. So you have to start going to bed early. But once you start waking up early, you will go to bed early because you are tired.
That's right. So for anyone who wants to start this, we are going to systemize this for them. So step 1 would be establishing your goals, right? So today or next week or within the year, what is it that you want to achieve? Does it relate to your health? Does it relate to work? Does it relate to your kids? It could be a number of things. So I would establish your goals. You need a why, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're just like, hey, I'm going to get up for the sake of getting up, well, it's not going to work. You need to actually wake up to what you want to do. But I'm going to say the key thing is, don't wake up to go do work, because that's a why you're waking up, but it's not a thing to satisfy your soul. You're not waking up to do work. You need things to satisfy yourself before you go into things to satisfy others. So you're waking up early to take care of yourself. So again, I read, I journal. Laura brought up exercising. I don't exercise in the morning because for me, I'd rather be doing more valuable things. I do exercise, but I exercise later in the day when my mental capacity is gone. I like I got great mental capacity in the morning. So You want to do things that are giving back to you before you give back to others.
That's right. So for you, yours was me time. And for me, mine is fitting in activities or fitness.
Mm.
So I like to use that time in the morning rather than cutting into the workday. So I like to do my morning activities when I wake up, starting at 6 or 6:30, the like morning activity.
And I want to add, this is where a good partnership comes into play when you're talking to your partner, right? Is that, I'm not doing those activities in the morning. I'm focusing on me, but obviously someone has to be home because you have children in the household, so you can't both go off. But we have different times when we allocate those things. But even if you both wanted to do activities in the morning, you could then alternate days in regards to, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Laura, you're going to Pilates, Tuesday, Thursday, Alex, you're going to the fitness center or something like that, or vice versa, or you're going to play tennis or something. But you work together as a team to create the routine so you can achieve your individual needs. Again, you need to work on yourself first before you start giving to your spouse, to your kids, to your employees, to your clients, to the universe. Because once you're fulfilled, then you have so much more to give. If you're not fulfilled as an individual, well, guess what? You're not going to have anything to give to the world because you're running at a deficit.
Yeah, that's right. So the first step was establishing goals and your why for waking up early. The second step would be establishing those time blocks in the morning. So I know, and when, we have our morning time, and then pretty much 7:30 is the cutoff. 7:30 is when in our household breakfast is served. And Alex, it is your role to prepare breakfast for the family and serve it. And everyone needs to be awake by 7:30. If they're not, we'll wake them up. So everyone is at the breakfast table in our household by 7:30. I purchased a plastic kids clock. It's not a functioning clock, but it's a clock that allows the kids to see future times. So I set the clock to 8:15 so that they know by 8:15 they have to be done breakfast and they have to be getting dressed. We have very, very firm steps that they need to follow. And in the end, they get a reward of 5 minutes TV in the morning. So what we do is the night before, when generally Alex is getting the kids ready for bed, I will run around the house and I will choose the kids' outfits for the next day. And I will set them up downstairs. Our kids, they sleep in the attic, but they all come downstairs, and most of our time in the morning is spent on the main floor. So their outfits are downstairs. They know where they are. One of our kids, he comes down in the morning and he gets dressed right away, but he knows where to find his clothes. He gets dressed. They know, though, when they're done breakfast, they're to get dressed right away and then brush their teeth before they can start playing. And those are just the expectations. We have communicated the expectations to them. They know what is expected of them exactly. And it makes it crystal clear, and they follow that. And as a result, if they are ready by a certain time, as I display on the clock, then they can have their TV.
Yeah, and to go through the routine, 7:30, we're all eating breakfast together. Then once they're done breakfast, get dressed. Once they get dressed, then they got to brush their teeth. After they brush teeth, there's extra time they can play. If there's no extra time, and if there's still time, then they get their 5 minutes at TV. And then after that, it's off to where they need to be. And to your point, where we have the one child who gets dressed right away as soon as he gets up. Just kids crave routine. So let's say, for example, if those clothes aren't there when he comes down in the morning, he's agitated because we've broken his routine. So they crave routine.
Yep.
And when you break the routine, they get agitated. And I've seen it firsthand. So if you don't have a routine in place in the morning and there's a lot of friction, it's because the kids want routine. They want the same thing every day. There may be pushback when you establish the routine, because they're not used to the routine. But once you have the routine in place and you go through it for a week, or I'm not sure what the time period would be, they will like the routine. If there's any pushback, it's just because they're not used to the routine. But once they have the routine, they are good to go.
That's right. And if you do anything that's outside of the routine, or if you try to switch parts around, it can be very frustrating for them. And it can really set them off. So it's very important that we follow the steps as we've been doing for years now.
And because we wake up before the routine starts and fill ourselves, it is not stressful at all. But I do know the days that if I sleep in and I'm not waking up early and I have to go right into the routine, it's if I wake up, let's say I wake up at 7. If I wake up at 7, it is a far more stressful morning for me. And I'm not intentional in the morning because I have all these other thoughts going through my head. I haven't calmed myself down. I haven't prepared myself for the day. And I'm personally a little agitated because I haven't had that me time, and I'm just going right into it and giving to the family right away. So when we talk about our morning routine, our morning routine is Laura and I have our own individual times to fill our needs. And then we're able to be the great parents that we want to show up and give to our kids.
That's right.
And we try to instill them in the evenings as well. Hey, kids, don't wake us up in the middle of the night. If you want us to be the best parents that we can be and give to you, we need our sleep as well. That's a work in progress, but that could be a whole nother episode. But explain to your kids going, hey, we want to be the best parents as possible. And when we have this routine and we're showing up at this time, we're going to be the best possible people to you starting at this time. But we also need our time as well so that we can set ourselves up for success to be that person. So that's how you can create boundaries for your kids going, hey, you go have your time over there. I'm busy making sure that I can show up at this time so I can be the best parent for you.
That's right. And you made a key point here because it doesn't start in the morning. It actually starts the night before. And there are steps that you can do to set yourself up for success the night before to make the morning easier. So I talked about getting the outfits ready. I should specify if any of them want to contribute to choosing their outfits, they can, right? So like if they want to choose, I will let them choose. But after that, I take the outfits downstairs. I set them up in the same location every night. But then there are some other things that we do. Lunch. About 50% of the lunch is prepared in the lunch boxes the night before and refrigerated. And then I just have to do some last minute things in the morning so that I have more time. I'm less stressed, right? Anything I can prepare the night before, I will. If Alex is the one in our household who empties the dishwasher, if I was the one emptying the dishwasher, or if I'm alone in the morning, I always empty the dishwasher the night before, just so that as our dirty dishes are made in the morning, I can pop them in the dishwasher right away to clean up the mess.
And I want to highlight here, just again, on a side topic, again, communication with your spouse and knowing things about setting them off. Laura does not like emptying the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And I understand this, but I'm thinking dishwasher is no big deal for me. Like, I'm like, oh, that bothers you? I'll just do that. So again, communicate with your spouse what bothers you, because the other person can pick up that slack because it may not be a big deal for them.
That's right. And actually, that's why you do breakfast as well, because all the demands were very hard for me and you don't mind the demands. So that's why you do breakfast for everyone, including for myself. You put my breakfast together. But after the dishwasher at nighttime, you just want to make sure your kitchen space is clean and clear, right? You don't want your sink full of dishes. You don't want the counter full of items that shouldn't be there, okay? So you want to have a clear, clean space. When you wake up in the morning, everything is in order. But the night before, sometimes I will also put out the breakfast items, set the table, just to make it a little easier, to save some time in the morning. Our coffee maker is always prepared, ready.
I do notice that. I'm like, wow, it's never
yes.
empty.
The water is always full, and then the
It's so to the point that sometimes in the middle of the afternoon where it's been used a few times and I
Yeah.
just don't even think about it anymore. And then it's empty. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't think about it in the morning because Laura always has it filled up.
Ensuring that I get enough sleep. So I am someone, I need at least 8 hours of sleep, ideally 9. If I am waking up at 6, it means that I need to have at least 8 hours of sleep by being asleep by 10. Okay, that doesn't mean going to sleep at 10. It means I need to be asleep by 10. So it's giving yourself enough time. So ideally, I would be in bed by 9:30 at the latest if I wanted enough time to be in bed, to fall asleep, and to get my 8 hours.
But you bring up a good point. So if you want to wake up early,
Mhm.
you do the math backwards. So you're like, I need, and then you look at how many hours of sleep do I need? Okay, then I need to go to bed by this time. I need to be asleep at this time. So then what things do I need to in place to make sure that I'm in bed at that time? So again, the morning routine starts planning way the night before to set yourself up for that success. Right?
That's right. And there are some tips and tools that you can use to support going to sleep early. So some of the things that I do are I don't bring my phone into our room anymore because I would scroll in bed when I should be sleeping. So I charge it in my office. The phone doesn't come into the room because I know that that will delay my bedtime. So phone goes in there, and instead I have an alarm clock that I use and love. So that's a trick by keeping the phone in another room. And then my tool is the alarm clock that I love next to the bed to support me.
I also want to add, for those people out there that are in charge of concerts, why can't you have matinee concerts for these parents that want to go to bed early? So that's just out there. It's a great business idea. Matinee, you can do a matinee show, then you can do an evening show. I just doubled your revenue. Go.
That's right.
Mhm.
And then one other thing is sometimes you and I, we don't go to sleep at the same time. And in an effort to not be disturbed, I do sleep with an eye mask so that the light doesn't bother me. And another thing that I really try to avoid doing in the evening after we've put the kids down to bed, if I can avoid it, I really try to not work in the evening.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. Like, yeah, if you work in not you, me as well.
Yeah.
If I know if I work late in the evening, like if I work past 8 p.m.
Mhm.
and I might have to get something done. Again, we're not perfect. Sometimes it happens. You got to do things. But if I end up doing something that does delay me falling asleep, another thing I want to add is it okay if I add something? Yeah.
Well, I was just going to
Yeah,
say,
go
but
ahead.
sometimes people can't avoid it. So what I do is I delay and then I'll do it first thing in the morning. So I'd rather wake up at 5 and do the work then so that I have my 8-9 hours of rest rather than doing it the night before, it interfering with my sleep. And then I don't have a great sleep. So I just wanted to say that I'm still doing the work, but I'm just reallocating the time when I'm doing it.
I'll also add to, and then so part of my transformation of waking up early, something that again, trying to decompress, I would sit in front of the TV and then I would also have 1 or 2 beers. Okay. And that was impacting my sleep as well. So what I switched to is I drink, if in the evening I do want to relax maybe for about 20 minutes, I have a non-alcoholic beer now. And the placebo effect is great. So instead of putting something in my body that is going to impact my sleep, I have a non-alcoholic beer in the evening, and now I don't have alcohol impacting my sleep. So again, it's building all these little things that will help support, building the foundation to help support your structure, your routine of waking up early. So you got to look at, why am I not waking up early? What are my roadblocks that are doing that? And then start removing those obstacles. And that's what I did that allowed me to wake up early, which allows me to be present and the best self when the kids wake up, and then the established routine for the kids. So establish a routine for yourself in the morning to then move into your family routine after.
That's right. And I want to touch base a little more on what you consume, because yes, alcohol can affect your sleep, but there are other things such as caffeine that can affect your sleep.
Chocolate?
Yeah, because there is caffeine in chocolate. There's caffeine in tea, in coffee, in pop.
Well, and even just eating, right? Eating after a certain point, can impact your sleep because of what's in there, right? Like sometimes just even caffeine or just sugary things
Or
or
maybe you
anything
just
like
ate
that.
too much.
Or you eat too much
Yeah.
and that's impacting your sleep. So
But it's just, if you're someone who has a hard time falling asleep, I would reflect on what is it you're consuming and could it actually be interfering with your ability to fall asleep? So when I was a dietitian and people would talk about struggling to fall asleep, we would reflect on what it is they were consuming. And if you're having a coffee in the afternoon, believe it or not, it can actually interfere with your ability to fall asleep at 9, 10, 11 p.m. For myself, I am very sensitive. Beyond having my cup of coffee in the morning, I cannot, if I want to have another coffee, I can't have it past noon. Even when I had newborns and I was exhausted, I couldn't have coffee past noon because it would affect my sleep, even though I was like going off very little sleep. So it's just something to consider because a lot of people often miss that, or they may consume chocolate in the evening or think tea doesn't have as much caffeine and have tea. I also can't drink tea in the afternoon. Or if you're just eating a lot of food or eating like a couple bags, or sorry, not a couple bowls of chips, right? And then you're trying to digest that while you sleep. It's something to consider so that you're minimizing anything that will disrupt your sleep. And if you're someone who has a really hard time turning off your mind and you have a constant to-do list, what are some things that you can do? So you could keep a notepad and pen next to your bed if you have ideas come to you. Or if there are just things that you don't want to forget, just write it down and leave it on your desk or leave it somewhere where you'll be able to revisit and remember to remind you rather the next day, rather than keeping it all in your head. Because the more you keep it in your head, the more it will affect your ability to sleep. So for anyone who wants to create this new morning routine or start waking up early, Alex, I know that you had a book that you read that helped you.
yeah, I read the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That helped me start on my journey. And again, you're going to create the morning that makes the most sense for you. So again, I said I don't do exercise in the morning, but I do get my exercise in because I'd rather read a little more and nourish my mind and use my mental facilities, and then I work out later in the day when I'm fried mentally, and then can focus on physical activity. So set the routine for what makes sense for you.
That's right. And that is by establishing your goals. That's determining your why. That is blocking off time, communicating the expectations, and really setting a morning that flows.
So
right?
I think great point. Communicating to your spouse
and kids, everyone involved.
And kids going, hey, I need this time so I'm a better person. So can you support me on this?
Yep.
I think that's so important. And then you can also add the next level. And then if you're speaking to your spouse or to the kids, but I'll say spouse, if you want to do this, is there something I can support you in to help you get more?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So, and just know that a supportive morning routine and one that's earlier than you're used to, it is possible. It's possible for anyone. So if you want to do this at home, you can do it too. And we would love to hear all about it. So share it in our comments on Instagram or message us. We'd love to hear all about your success and intentional household living. If you want to hear more, check us out on Instagram at Intentional Household, YouTube, and check me out on LinkedIn.